The greatest cash game in the history of poker time continues, Grant. Right here, right now.
That is some hyperbole, but it's also probably true.
So then is it hyperbole, sir?
I don't know. Can hyperbole be true?
I don't know, probably. It's hard to say.
We got to ask a professor.
Someone out there, tweet at us. Tag it. Tag it, is hyperbole real?
Is hyperbole real? That's not the question at all.
It kind of is.
Anyway, we got Digital Dan with Queen Jack. I think he blind raised under the... Oh, no, it was +1. He just raised to 20. That's a very small raise.
Weirdly small. Maybe he miscounted his chips in his hand? Maybe he thought one of them was green?
Or maybe we have it
Maybe under the gun is
wrong.
Yeah, he must have blind raised that. He always raises more.
But he's +1. So maybe under the gun actually did blind raise. We just didn't have them in there. I don't know. Anyway,
maybe.
We got Terminator flopping top pair here. Nobody else really flopped anything, it looks like.
Let's see if Wonka's in the hand.
Terminator's going to go right ahead and lead. Which makes me feel like it was essentially a limped pot. No, Wonka's not in the hand. So Dan did just min raise.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That is really weird.
Marty's going to call him with ace-8 of hearts.
Holy camole.
Marty's back.
Greatest cash game in the history of...
This is not going to go well for Marty if he tries to make a move here.
No, Marty deep also. We know Marty likes to shove when he makes a big play. So sort of regardless of pot and stack to pot and all that stuff. Terminator's going to continue.
Well, he might just shut it down then.
I would expect Marty to not continue, but I wouldn't expect him to make it to the turn anyway. So what do I know? This will be something if Marty puts in range. Marty is reaching. Looks like he's counting out a call.
This Marty, he does not give up.
I will say that none of the draws have come in. There are multiple draws out there. However,
so you think he's just heroing? He's not planning on making a move.
That is my guess.
Okay.
Assuming a safe card comes off on the river. Let's see if that happens.
It is a diamond, but he picks up a pair.
But the straight and flush draws come in, so this should be an easy fold actually for Marty if he's thinking that way.
It really should, because although we do see Terminator with no equity bluff sometimes, it's hard to put him on a no equity bluff when he bets into 5 players.
He's got to have like 6-3.
Is Marty? Looks like he's just going to call here.
Well, he suddenly has a much better hand than I guess he anticipated having. But if you're calling because you're putting him on draws.
Can't call on this card.
Can't call. And also, he did bet into the whole world when he bet. You know, there were a bunch of people who saw this flop. It's less likely for him to have complete air here. Not impossible,
a little bit too bad that Marty gave up the whole I could make a move thing here with the way he's acting, because the diamond could be in Marty's range as well.
Absolutely.
If he was going to decide to continue, I think raising is better than calling, actually.
I think Terminator probably is folding to a big raise. That's my guess. Although he may just say, this is a really good hand and I'm not folding.
I mean, I think Terminator has a lot of trip kings in his range, having bet the turn.
Yeah.
A lot of the time he's going to check the turn with his draws that didn't get there.
I agree. Because it's so easy for Marty to have trip kings. Terminator's sitting there thinking, oh boy, if this guy has trip kings, I probably have him.
Although it's a little bit close. But Marty would have called by now with trip kings, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Although Marty could have even reasonably decided to fold a bad trip kings here. It's similar to ace-8. Really plays similarly.
Who do you think hates folding more, Marty or Hank?
Hank.
Yeah, I guess so. Marty knows it's a bad call. Look at him.
Yeah.
He just knows that was a big mistake.
Terminator got so much value in a spot. He really should have gotten 0. What a deal. That pot is way bigger than it was supposed to be. That's what makes this cash game so crazy.
That was kind of an insane float on the flop by Marty with ace-8 of hearts.
And how about an insane float on the turn with ace-8 of hearts? Forget the flop for a second.
I know, it's all crazy.
But again, I guess he was putting him on a... Nope, can't put him on a draw when the diamonds comes in and we call anyway. Now we got to put him on...
Just a bluff. Just 9-10 of spades.
Yeah, it's just hard to come up with anything. 6-8, which was like a gutter, which he bet twice and then made a pair on and decided to bet the river.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, it's so thin.
It's a little bit skinny.
Digital Dan.
It's like heroin chic skinny.
That is skinny. But fashionable.
Hank limping the 7-5 off. He likes to play. Aaron with another big hand. Let's see if he can manage to not lose, half of a mortgage payment.
Well, BMW Blake has a hand as well.
He's going to call. That's reasonable for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's call or raise. Those are the only reasonable options, I think. It is not unreasonable, by the way, to 3-bet there where you could isolate and knock Hank out.
Looks like Hank called over there in the corner.
Much harder for 8s to win 3 ways.
It is, but he could be doing some set mining here.
Yeah.
Along with, potentially having the best hand a lot.
Actually, Aaron only with 750 in front of him.
But he knows Hank's calling.
Well, that's true.
You have to know that. Well, that's an action-killing flop right there.
Blake does like to bet when it's checked to him. Assuming Aaron does not follow through here, which I don't know, some of these guys like to bet their kings in this spot, some of them don't. We saw Blake do it last episode. Aaron checks.
This is just and you're right. You were just nailed it. Blake was going to bet.
Blake immediately bets. When Aaron checks here, I mean, you're either denying equity or you're behind, right? Those are most of your. I guess once in a while Aaron could have a worse pocket pair, but
it's not a value bet. It's mostly a bet to try to fold out hands like Aaron has and to fold out
king queen.
King queen.
That's a
like
really
that.
good hand to fold out.
Yeah.
And Aaron just lets it go right away. Let's see if Bake shows his eights, thinking
He
they're the
does.
best. He doesn't even try to. Aaron luckily is not seeing out. Now he saw it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe
That's
he
just
didn't get
kind of
saved.
another manifestation of Aaron getting unlucky with a big hand.
Aaron could have called once.
He
too.
could have called once.
But it's okay to fold, honestly, in that spot and not play a relatively big pot. He's out of position. He's often going to have to face another barrel, and it just gets ugly. And there's not too much Blake's betting, right? Although, would Blake bet at 10 is the question. I guess the answer is yes. since he
Yes,
bet two
clearly.
hands.
Yeah.
That's like one hand.
So then,
So then what?
yeah. So then that's too bad
So
for
then
Action
Jonathan's
Aaron.
brain
So then
stopped working.
maybe Action Aaron should be calling then if Blake's going to be betting at 10 as well. Although he doesn't know that, I guess we know. Now he does because Blake showed the eights. But
All right, Hank's under the gun. He could have anything. Here's limped.
he's got a wide range there for sure. Joseph says goodbye. Action Aaron just calls with a reasonable hand.
Yep.
Just call.
Oh, Hank has 9-4 suited.
I like how you said that.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting thing.
He's got 9-4 suited over here,
Yeah.
Jonathan.
It's not a hand you're ever going to be able to put him on. Digital Dan just folds to no raise? Is that what just happened?
No, I think there's a raise to 40. Or
Oh, okay.
Marty made it
Yes.
35.
Okay.
The digital one might be a little bit tight, but he's not that tight, Jonathan.
I thought he just made a mistake. But I was the one who made a mistake. Action Aaron obviously not going to fold. And if Hank's not going to fold, Hank in some trouble, but clubs or a 9 would bail him out, at least for the time being.
So, yeah, he's got an ambitious range.
Well, there it is. He's got the best hand.
Yep.
He's not going to fold for one bet. But Marty likes to fire lots of barrels. Let's see what happens.
Marty does have the backdoor nut flush draw. So if you're going to fire on this terrible board for your hand, at least he has that.
He can pick up some equity. It's true. Easy call, really, for Hank at this point. You don't play the 9-4 suited to fold when you make second pair.
No, I don't think you do.
Be interesting to see if Marty fires again, if Hank calls on a brick card here.
These guys both hate giving up so much.
Yeah, this is not a brick.
That is the opposite of a brick.
Is-
What's the opposite of a brick? Is it like a
it's
gelatin?
It's like a
Gelatin?
no. I think it's like a grenade.
A grenade is the opposite of a brick?
Bricks are things you build like things with. Grenades destroy things.
I was just thinking about how bricks are hard and gelatin is not.
Hank does give it up on this card. I think
Yeah.
he absolutely has to. Marty's going to show him the ace of spades.
It's a really good card to bet.
Yep. When they only show the ace of spades, they never have the nut flush though.
No,
But,
of course not.
But he could absolutely have two aces or top pair with the ace of spades. He could have ace jack there.
I don't know what people are thinking, like how they think they're getting away with showing one card and pretending they have something else. They're like, oh yeah, I had aces. Here's one of the aces.
Yeah. They so often will show one card though and then claim like big pocket pair or the nuts or something like that. It's like, well,
why wouldn't you show both
you would
of
show
them?
if you're going to show one, you were going to show both in that spot. It just doesn't make it. Like that's not how people act. We've seen it too many times.
Joseph's got a little pair there under the gun.
What do you think? $30, Joseph? $30?
Looks like more. Looks like 40. Marty with a slightly better pair.
Marty's just going to move it all in here.
I wouldn't honestly be so surprised. He does 3-bet.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy against Joseph's under the gun range.
That is true. Eights eights can be played a bunch of different ways. This is one way to play them, though, is for a 3-bet to try and isolate. But I agree with you.
Joseph's under the gun range.
I completely agree. And by the way, it also didn't work. Terminator flatted, and now Terminator's got position on you, and you have eights in this pot. It's a terrible spot suddenly.
It is.
You'd really like to be able to rewind the clock and just call.
He also 3-bet quite small. Like, he's never folding Joseph out, which
No.
I guess his intent is not to fold Joseph out, but just to isolate him, I suppose.
Yeah. I think it's okay to do it that way. This might work out if Marty continues, which I would expect him to.
Yeah, Terminator's got to have a king or a flush draw. I mean, sometimes Terminator will call with a 5, but it's hard for him to have a 5.
Marty very well has the best hand as well. This looks like a pretty big bet.
250? 225.
I guess, yeah, 75% of the pot or so. Terminator lets it go, and I'd be surprised if Joseph actually, there's only one over card. but he'd be facing further aggression. There's a lot of bad cards. Most cards in the deck are
Yeah,
bad.
he doesn't even have the 7 of hearts.
Exactly. I guess the 4 or the 6 of not hearts keeps you around. The 7 keeps you around. But most of the cards are going to be overcards. And even when it isn't an overcard, Marty can absolutely have you.
And
I like this fold.
yeah, I think it's a good fold, even though it sucks to fold to Marty when you actually have something.
Yeah, look at Joseph's face. He's like, oh, man.
Hey, Marty shows him the good news.
Oh, how happy are you when you have 7s and you see that?
Yeah.
It's like, you might have had 9s, but you happen to have 7s, and so it's a good fold instead of a bad one.
I don't know. Maybe Joseph calls with 9s and folds 7s. I wonder if that's the case.
Maybe. There are less bad cards. I mean, I assume he's calling jacks plus and 10s.
Yeah.
Actually, I assume he's even calling 10s, so 9s is probably pretty close.
Yeah, borderline.
Yeah.
Playing against Marty is just a can of worms.
It is an interesting thing. I love it when a player becomes such a strong part of what's going on. It's hard to really think about anything else in the game.
Right,
It's
you
pretty
have to
interesting.
consider Marty and what Marty might do anytime you enter a pot.
Yep.
So Aaron's considering that. He's limping, and Marty actually has a real hand. We saw Aaron limp ace-king under the gun in the last episode, I think with the intention of 3-betting, but Digital Dan beat him to it. Aaron ended up folding.
Oh, that's right.
So I wonder if he has a similar plan here.
Well,
We know
got
Marty
some money
wouldn't
in the
fold.
pot.
We know Marty wouldn't fold to a 3-bet. Oh, we got Digital Dan with 2 jacks here.
I don't see how Digital Dan is not going to raise it up against Marty's range.
How many negatives were in that sentence?
Well, I'm not sure. There's another negative.
I'm
for
not
you.
not sure.
Digital Dan, is that just a call?
Looks like a call.
Wow.
It's fine to just call there.
It's fine, but you usually want to isolate Marty.
All right, Aaron did not have a 3-betting hand, I suppose. Maybe he has ace-king anyway. I don't know.
Seems unlikely, but
It does.
I'm surprised Digital Dan, when Marty raises and Terminator calls, Digital Dan was to put in a big raise there to knock out at least Action Aaron, if not another player.
Yeah, I think that's probably a slightly better play. And, well,
Wow.
he
Digital Dan.
didn't want to knock anybody out.
I said in the last episode that Digital Dan runs the best of everyone in Poker Time history, and it seems that is continuing. What a flop.
Marty's going to do the betting for him, too, which is amazing if you're Dan. And Marty, I think this is a spot where you can check
Yeah.
when you have 3 opponents. And
I agree,
This
on
is
this
the
board.
board. Like, you're going to get called by all the draws and jacks and 8s, and those are all well within your opponent's ranges.
Digital Dan crushing the board so badly, it's not unreasonable at all to just flat here. Also against Marty,
Yeah,
let
Marty,
him keep going.
Marty has plenty of bluffs here. Let's let him bluff.
Marty can get it in by the river for sure.
What
For
a
sure.
dream scenario for Dan right here.
And you're in position.
The heart might kill his
Oh,
action.
Yeah, if Marty had an ace or a queen of hearts, he'd be drawing dead, but would be loving his spot and very well may get it in.
And Marty has checked, it says. It looked like he was counting out chips, but maybe that was just to try
Yeah.
to deter Dan from betting.
See, it's a weird spot. Digital Dan wants to give himself a chance to get it all, so I understand the bet here.
Right,
At the
but-
same point, when Marty checks, I mean, Marty likes to call a lot, though. With a lot of hands, we've seen this.
This might be a profitable bet
Yeah.
from Dan against
It
Marty's
probably is.
range.
I think it probably is.
Yeah, but Marty just can't continue when that heart hits. Like, now he can't beat anything.
Correct. He can beat 9-10.
Yeah, but
9-10 suited, that's it.
yeah.
9-10 suited, not hearts. 3 combos.
That's a little bit disappointing for Dan, but he did get something out of it.
He did. He did. I don't know if he had 3-bet it pre. Marty wasn't going to fold.
I wonder if Marty would have just shoved pre with ace queen suited. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder what Digital Dan does in that case.
I think if you're going to 3-bet jacks against Marty, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to call even if it's for 200
Yeah, I
blinds.
think you're probably right. Well, then Digital Dan would have been very happy.
Yeah.
Could afford more of those shirts. Those insanely expensive
You
shirts.
could afford one more sleeve of the
That's
shirt.
a Joseph Abood. Wait till you see it again. When he comes back on the screen, you'll
I love
be able
me.
to,
I love me some Abu.
you'll be able to really appreciate the craftsmanship.
Gotta love. Oh, Blake's got aces.
So many big hands.
I like the craftsmanship of those rockets, bro.
Nice.
Whoa,
Oh,
okay.
well.
What about this run good were you talking about?
Just wait. He's going to flop the last queen.
Oh, okay.
It ain't over yet.
I didn't know that. And he is going to 3-bet. Obviously, that is a perfectly fine play.
Oh, yeah. You want to isolate.
Relatively small 3-bet, but whatever. That's fine.
It's totally fine. Blake,
Is Blake going to 4-bet, or is he just going to call?
I think you should 4-bet. They're really deep.
Yeah, 4-betting is not a terrible idea, that's for sure.
Like, let's change up that stack to pot. Looks like he is going to reach for some of the big chips. And I don't know what Digital Dan's supposed to do except call here. I don't know if he can really 5-bet profitably.
Wait,
This looks like a big bet.
no, it's
Oh, okay,
those are
no.
greens.
Okay. It's 325.
It's a super small bet.
Never mind on everything I
350.
said. It is almost it's not a click back, but it's very small.
It's kind of terrifying, the size of this bet.
I think, well, when we're this deep, we have a very easy call.
Yeah, we can set mine.
It would be absurd to put in another bet here where we might just get action only from the really big hands. But your hand is way too good to fold.
Yep.
And, of course, Digital Dan, as I already said, is going to flop the best hand.
And he's got 2 live flush draws, so don't forget about that.
Yeah, well, that could be part of it. We might go heart, 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 river, another heart, win the whole thing.
There's 2 of the hearts, but this is a bad flop for Dan.
Incredibly good flop for Blake. Dan never has pocket deuces, never has 1-8 in his hand.
Never has 2 8s in his hand, really.
Pretty much never has 2 8s in his hand, but doesn't have ace-8 ever.
The only
or
thing
9-8.
Blake should be worried about is like ace-king of hearts.
And you know, that's not so bad. You got great equity against that too.
Right. And he bets big.
How big is 575? Wow, that is a big,
It's
really
essentially
big
a
bet.
pot-sized bet, and Dan doesn't like it. Look at Dan's face there. He knows something's up.
Well, I mean, Blake has given him all the signals to say. Dan's trying to think. I think would he play jacks like this, right?
I think
Would he play tens like this?
Would he play ace-king like this? Would he even bet the flop with ace-king? And if he did, would it be this size?
I guess if he had ace-king of hearts, he might play it just like this.
Maybe, but that is one combo, as you said, and our equity against that hand is not amazing.
No, in fact, it's like it's
about
about
50-50,
50-50. Yeah, it's not. And that's like the hand we're praying for. Oh, look at the way he's like playing with the cards.
I think this is a fold.
Do you see the way he just played with the cards there a
Yeah.
little bit? That's very strong.
Even just range-based, I think this is an optimal play is to fold here for Dan.
I mean, how often have we seen someone 4-bet and not have a huge hand?
Right.
Almost never.
Like you said, Blake pretty much never has jacks here.
Have we ever seen Blake 4-bet light in this game? I don't think so.
No, 3-bet light maybe, but not 4-bet, especially when he opened over a Marty under the gun limp and then Dan 3-bet.
I mean, Digital Dan, tighter range, and he does let it go. Great fold by
That is a
Digital
great
Dan.
fold, and a lot of you are probably going to think that's a super nitty fold and that it's we're being results-oriented and saying it's a good fold, but I genuinely believe against Blake's range that is the correct play.
I mean, if you think about Digital Dan's 3-betting range is pretty tight. Blake's 4-betting range is insanely tight. Digital Dan, it would have been completely reasonable to call there once.
Yeah.
Blake sized it up too, and Blake was trying to get it all. It's understandable. However, here's a problem with the way Blake played it. If Digital Dan's folding queens,
Yep, it's a real problem.
now what are we supposed to get action from? Ace, I guess hearts.
That's why I kind of like the idea of flatting preflop against Dan sometimes there
Yeah.
because the ranges are so strong and we have the super nuts with aces like
Blake could have bet less though. That's
He
another way
could've
to
bet
do it.
300 or something
yeah,
like
bet,
that.
bet less on the flop. But I hear what you're saying. At the same point, when you're so deep, you just want to build up that pot to make it harder for Dan to fold later.
yeah, it's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
Terminator's going to make it 40 here. Hank has anything.
He has the 9-6 of
9-6 of
spades.
That's actually a pretty good hand.
I mean, okay.
Nah.
I guess when we look at Hank's overall range, this is a very playable
And
hand.
Marty's going to 3-bet the deuces out of the big blind. He wants to win this more often than just when he flops a set, I guess.
Well, he's given himself a chance. Big 3-bet. That's how you 3-bet.
If
Digital
Terminator
Dan.
folds,
Holy moly.
will Hank Terminator does fold. Will Hank call? Is Hank this guy who's going to call this?
Call it Hank. Call it Hank.
Hank-
These two guys against each other, this is awesome. He is at least thinking about it.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to call, though.
He hates folding so much, though.
Does. You can... It's just emanating off him the...
He has more than
Oh,
he does
he's not
call.
folding.
And
He's got a
he has
9 and a 6.
more than half the equity. So
I mean, if he knew what the hands were...
obvious call.
Of course, if you knew what the hands were, you'd almost always call.
No,
Right?
you
Doesn't
actually,
matter what the hands
he
are.
probably
you-
almost always 4-bet.
Oh, in this case, I don't know. Against Marty, he might make a crazy call. Why not just call and then I'll play him later? It'd be easy.
Okay.
If we know what he has,
Yeah, true.
just it's perfect. If he flops a deuce, great. If he doesn't,
Hey, he flops a deuce,
well, Marty's very happy.
but he's not going to get any money.
Can't imagine Hank's going to be able to continue on this board.
No, he's not going to. I'll lay you a really good price
Yeah.
on that. I don't think he will.
Marty could decide to slow play this, but it looks like he's going to bet. It's completely reasonable to bet here.
I
This
think
is
betting
a good board to
betting
bet.
is absolutely optimal when you 3-bet deuces out of the big blind and get this flop where your opponent hits it so
Yeah.
often.
Yeah,
Obviously,
it's a good board for Marty's range, but not in the way that we would think. We wouldn't put him on deuces so much as like
and it's Hank.
aces, ace king, kings, jacks, things like that.
Hank might call there with ace 10. You know, he'll call there with a jack for sure.
I think if he has a jack, he's 100%
Yeah.
calling. 100%. If he has 2 8s, I'm not sure what he's going to do for
might call.
one bet. Yeah. So I think it's absolutely the right bet. I agree with you.
But Marty probably thought that was his shot. You know, his shot
mean,
to really get some of that money back.
That's the thing about no limit hold'em. You know, it's like when you flop so good, you really need someone else to either lose their mind or flop at least pretty good too, and it's to get paid. It's just can be hard,
It can be,
but that's part of the deal.
but when you get paid, it's awesome.
It is real nice. The one who is digital, thinking, reaching, Limping.
In Spain, they call him El Digital.
Hank limps behind with the ace king. Is Joseph going to continue this? No.
No, he's raising the jacks.
Well, Hank is sort of in his own way set a trap, I suppose.
Do you think Hank's going to 3-bet?
I do. I think it's a good spot to 3-bet.
I think it is, but Hank has been so passive. He's played a lot of hands, but he's playing super passive.
Look at all these people who are coming in, though. Marty's already coming in. Blake is going to come in.
It's definitely a great spot to 3-bet. I just don't know if that's Hank's style.
I just feel like if Blake comes in and Dan comes in, I just don't see how Hank is going to just sit back with ace king and not put in a big 3-bet. That's my
Blake,
guess.
Looks like Blake's going to fold the Jack-9 suited. It's a bit of a surprise.
Wow.
Saved himself $50 if the 3-bet's
Assuming
coming.
a 3-bet's coming, yeah. We'll see if we're right, though. Digital Dan calls. It's reasonable. And let's see. He looks like he is reaching for the 100.
Yeah, that's a
chips.
big 3-bet, I think.
See how much he makes it. He had 1.4 to start.
460.
Puts in about a third of his stack. He looks committed.
This is a weird spot for Joseph.
I don't think it's that weird. I think you just have to go.
Why?
Because it's Hank.
I know. Remember what I was saying about Hank, though? Huge VPIP, no PFR.
Yeah, I guess that is true. That is true.
I don't think Hank's range includes, like, deuces here.
I mean, Hank did do some. We've seen him 3-bet already with ace-7 suited.
One time.
We did
see
that was
that.
early, though. That was a long time ago.
This is a very different scenario as well.
I mean, you're Joseph. You just have to think, is this guy ever limping behind with aces, kings, and queens? Is he ever actually doing that? That's the question. If he's never doing it or almost never doing it, we're fine, right?
Yeah, I just don't know.
We have to think, is he really? And then also, is he going to size it up to? He's sizing it really big. Less likely he's got aces when he sizes it this big. Now, that's not true for everyone. Maybe that's not true for Hank, actually. Maybe Hank can have aces here.
This is clearly a difficult decision for Joseph, and I agree with him that it is a difficult decision.
He 9x Joseph's 3-bet. I mean, holy moly's, that's big. I know there's 3 other players in the hand, but 9xing is just something you don't ever see. I guess if Joseph folded here, it would not be unreasonable. He's only got $50 invested.
60.
$60 invested, you're right.
Looks like he's going with it.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
He's put in the big 4-bet here, and I think that's fine. I think folding would have been fine, too.
Yeah, I've come around. I agree with you.
And Hank obviously can't fold at this point.
Yeah, Hank should be... Hank, this is basically a slow roll at this point. Let's go, buddy. You're never folding.
I mean, especially Joseph's tanks look genuine too. Like, I guess Joseph is the type of guy who might do a reverse genuine tank sometimes.
Who cares? It's 800 to win 1.9K. We have ace king. Let's go.
Let's put it in there, Hank.
Hank, you hate to fold anything. You have a really good hand.
There he goes. It's coming. All right.
You don't mind this anyway. You don't mind. In some ways, it's tougher if you get called because if you miss, you got tough spots.
This is a big race. This is a $3,000 race.
Yeah, this happened sort of out of nowhere. I think if Hank had just raised as normal, it's possible Joseph wouldn't have made this call.
Right.
But as played, Joseph felt like Hank didn't have it enough of the time.
Well, he
was right.
It's a big pot, man. All right, good flop for Joseph.
Hank does have the ace of clubs for the backdoor flush draw.
The jack will not help Hank, though, if he gets Broadway.
That's right. That's a miss, so now we're down to just the 6 outs, and really 4, because of 2 things that have been folded, an ace and a king. Actually, both aces.
And Joseph gets to win $3,000. That is a big pot.
Look at Hank's face. He looks displeased. Understandable.
That's a good feeling getting those chips pushed to you.
Oh, yeah. It's nice. Hank looks like he is going to the cage, though, to get some more of the chippies, as they call them.
Yes.
I mean, required 5, but I was like, he wasn't waiting for me, so was he really waiting for, one guy? Or
We're going to get right back to that sweet, sweet poker time action.
So good.
Oh, man, I'm enjoying it. But before we do, we got to talk a little bit about the sponsor, Dash Digital Cash.
What is Dash Digital Cash, you may be asking? Well, that's what we're here to tell you, actually.
Yeah,
that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, that's the reason this is being
That's
talked
what
about.
this is
And
about.
that's what's on the felt. It's a cryptocurrency, and it's an awesome cryptocurrency. If you want to learn more, you got to check out the video we made. It's a pretty good video, I got to say.
I know it is.
But basically the cliff notes are, it is extremely fast and extremely cheap to send. I'm talking 1 to 4 seconds. I'm talking a penny. Anywhere in the world, any amount of Dash. It's a revolution, really.
It's incredible. It has other pretty great traits as well. It's got things like private send, which allows you to send anywhere anonymously with like true cryptography behind it, which is pretty awesome. It has instant send, which not only sends things super fast, but makes it spendable instantly, which is perfect for merchant adoption like Target, Starbucks, Walmart, Amazon, things like that.
Name more brands.
I could, if I really wanted to, Whole Foods, that's Amazon.
There you go, you did it. Anyway, let's get back to poker time. Enjoy the action.
And we're back, and Joseph is still stacking those chips from that win against Hank.
So, you know what I'm saying? I say it out loud.
Big pot. Huge pot. One of the biggest we've actually seen, and also with hands that we often don't see in $3,000 pots all in pre-flop.
No, not usually. The situation made it so it made sense.
Yeah.
But it was definitely pretty light hands for that big of a pot.
Wonka's digging his ace queen.
Oh, yeah. He's loving it, man. You can tell. Look at him.
Look at him. He's like so
Look how happy
content.
he is. Digital Dan looks sad. He doesn't like sevens, I guess.
Likes him enough to put the $40 in.
He's
Hank's
sad
still out
because-
getting his chips.
He's sad because he's usually saying goodbye to those $40 against Wonka's under the gun range unless he flops a 7.
Correct. BMW Blake. He folded Jack 9 suited the last hand from the big blind.
He stopped-
Somehow he calls here with Jack 6
I don't
suited.
understand that. I also don't understand why he stopped using his little BMW as a card protector.
That's a huge mistake.
He's shunning his love.
Wow. And his name. His own name.
I think we should talk to somebody about this.
Do you
I don't
think-
know who, but
Do you think Blake looks at his little model car and says, "Call me by your name"? Hey, there's a 7 for Dan.
I think he does. And yeah, Dan feels good now. Blake flops open-ended, right? I think it is. Yeah, 4, 5, 7.
Okay, cool. That makes it more interesting because otherwise, by the way, Dan continues to flop monsters.
Yeah, he does. Marty has a gut
Oh,
shot.
and Dan checks to Marty. Will Marty take a shot? No.
He checks all the way around. Well,
It's a safe card for Digital Dan.
yeah, unless somebody made a set of 9s somehow.
Yeah, which is unlikely at least. I guess Blake or Terminator could have, but they both check.
Dan's got to start betting now, right?
Yep. Depending on how he sizes. By the way, oh no, never mind. Depending on, I was going to say BMW Blake has a flush draw as well, but that is a 4 of hearts on the board. Digital Dan gonna bet. Let's see how much he makes it. Is that 150?
Yep. Pretty big bet.
BMW Blake gonna be out of position with one card to come.
And it's going to be obvious when it comes. I think it's
Yep.
probably a fold.
I agree. You can pray for a jack, which turns out would not be so great.
Terminator has a 5, but I don't think he'll call against Digital Dan.
No, I mean it looks like Digital Dan has a 9 a lot, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Blake just folds. That's a good fold.
And Wonka can't do anything with the ace-queen when he gets called in so many spots.
Digital Dan get super slammy on these flops.
Super slammy. That's
Super
a cool
slammy.
thing.
Thank you. But doesn't get a huge amount of action. And both his last times he flopped sets, top set both times, and it's not gotten action really.
That's a
either
function
time.
of the cards.
Of course, I'm just saying. So we're saying he's so lucky.
Yeah, I guess
However,
that part's not so lucky.
Yeah. Like he's a little luckier if someone loses their mind or has an over. If Wonka has kings there, Wonka's going to pay him off to some tune of
Yeah.
some amount.
I love paying off tunes.
To some amount?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to pay off tunes.
That's what I'm going to call people when they're running good. Super slammy.
Yeah, that's good, right? I just came up
Like,
with that.
yo, Michael, you're super slammy right now.
Yeah. They're going to love that too.
They're gonna
like
love
what you
it.
said. Hank is back.
Hello, Hank.
Marty, he's never seen a king 8 off he doesn't like in the
That's for
frickin'
sure.
cutoff. That's for sure.
Blake's got his
What?
little car.
Wait.
He's got his car back.
Oh, good luck charm returns. Blake, once again, folding the Jack 9 of diamonds 2 hands ago. Calling with Jack 6 of diamonds and now Jack 7.
I think he should be 3-betting if he's going to enter this pot.
I guess he's calling because Marty opened and he's going to have position on him, which is
Yeah.
not crazy.
I mean, I think it's a little less crazy if we have something like 8-9 offsuit where
Yeah.
we usually wouldn't play, but it can play pretty well post-flop at
Jack
least.
7 does not have huge equity. Now, if Marty, did Marty already check? No, okay. Marty does
did.
check.
Well, at least Blake's going to try to take it away.
Yeah, that is, if you're going to call Jack 7 on the button, you're going to have to bet. And Marty is not going to fold. Is this real? This is real.
Marty knows.
Marty looks like he has 2 kings here. Marty has the best hand with king high.
Yes, he does.
This is crazy right now. How can this gone check back call?
It just did. I don't know.
Okay,
That's how-
what's going to happen now? Marty checks again. Blake's
Oh,
going to give up.
Blake gave up.
That's understandable. I would give up too. Another 3, so it's going to be hard to move Marty off his full house. If it goes check, check, and Marty wins with king high.
What full house?
No, I'm saying Marty has like a pretend kings.
Oh.
That's what it
And
looks
Blake's
like.
going to go for it.
Blake figures, well, he didn't bet again.
He bets small, really small, 70.
Well, he gave himself a great bluffing price, and Marty really Even
folds.
Marty can't call there. Why did Marty call the flop?
Blake shows a jack or a 7. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
Jack.
That's one of the, Blake always shows when he has it, though.
Yep, and you just showed 1, so
Yep,
that's
that's
not
the-
good news.
Yep. He could have King Jack, though, and have you beat any. I guess it would be a chop if he had King Jack.
Yep. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah. Ace 3-3-3.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, those were pretty sharp.
Weirdly played hand.
Yes,
Marty with the check call on the flop, and then never
Blake-
taking a shot at
Blake calling jack 7 off pre-flop, by
it. Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. I like that. I think I like that Blake went for it on the river. I think that's good.
I think
I
that's
would be
good.
worried that I'm getting called so often, though. I
don't know.
would have sized it up.
Against
That's for sure.
against a more traditional player, he might have kings and queens a lot, but I think Marty bets those on the flop.
Yeah, I think you're right. But he called. Doesn't he have to have a pair when he calls?
No, of course not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm a fool.
Marty with ace 5. Digital Dan.
Well,
Well,
we-
looks like Wonka's still in. No, he's out now. No aces left, basically. Just
Okay.
one.
No interest in isolating Marty with the ace 8. He just wants
He's
better
just
hands.
looking for better spots. Dan should probably
He's gonna
3
slow
bet
play.
sometimes.
I think most of the time he should probably 3-bet against Marty, but he's going to slow play it. Ace high board would be bad for Marty because he'd probably put in a lot of chips.
There's only one ace left.
Well, this is
well,
an interesting
they both
thing,
hit their
too.
kicker.
If the remaining ace comes on the turn, I predict Armageddon.
It's another great flop for Dan, by the way.
Yes. Dan can both options are reasonable here. Marty almost never has him beat.
We just take it for granted that Marty bets this flop, by the way.
Yeah. But like, look, I mean, Marty's got to have pocket 7s or pocket 5s, really. I guess he could have king 7 suited and 7-5 suited.
What are you talking about
king
suited?
5 suited.
Why are you saying why are you saying suited?
No, you're right. We block aces.
So, I mean,
Anyway, it's fine for digital. to
That
play it
card's a
this way, too.
slightly wet card. A little scary. Makes some 2 pairs, some straights.
Yeah, but you know, check. Dan knows he's got to believe he always has the best hand.
Probably value betting the river.
Well, yes. I'm gonna say.
Now I'm assuming he might trap though. He gets trappy sometimes. Now he's gonna try to get a little value here.
I mean, clubs missed.
That's
4-6
300.
missed.
He overbets the pot. He's trying to make it look like a bluff.
Well, let's see if Marty does have a bluff catcher.
That doesn't mean you have to call though.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
But he can beat a
he
bluff.
could at least consider calling.
He can beat the clubs.
He's considering it. Dan's trying to make up for some of that missed value in other
Uh-oh, that-
spots. That is not a call.
That could be considered
Come
a
on.
call.
Marty almost put it in anyway there. He leaned forward. And he
Hey,
calls.
calls. Nice pot for Dan. I guess
He's like,
the.
I got it.
I wonder if the overbet worked, made Marty think it was bluffy, or it just didn't matter. He was just going to call anyway.
I'm going to go with option B,
That seems reasonable.
but it is hard to know. We can't really know, of course.
Dan the Slammer. Slammer Danner.
He's super slamming those flops.
Yeah.
Once again.
Like Slammer and Pogs. You know Pogs?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. That wasn't for your generation.
Nope, that's some other man's game.
Well, I played Pogs when I was like 9 years old, and that game was sweet. So maybe you should show some respect.
You're really
Show a little respect,
connecting
please.
with the audience right now. I
The
love
audience.
it.
Hey, tag your tweets.
Pog lover.
Pogs are good.
I know what porgs are.
Yeah.
Do you?
Uh huh.
Okay. I know you haven't seen the
I'm
new
just
Star Wars movie.
I'm just
so-
upset right now that you are so dismissive of my Pog thing.
Yeah, I'm
I
going
used
to
to have
remain
a
that way.
bit of a Pog collection, you know.
Terminator is going to raise it up here with the 8-7 offsuit. Wonka, this is a candidate for a 3-bet.
Or
Actually,
call. He can call or 3-bet.
Yeah, I guess everyone's deeper than him, and he's got 2K in front of him. He could reasonably call. You're right.
Looks like he's reaching for black chips there, though.
Unless someone else picks up something, this is probably going to work.
Yeah, 115 it looks like. I don't see this getting called anywhere.
Unless Hank has something. He does not.
Well,
This has got to get through, right?
yeah. It really does.
I mean, Terminator could decide to be stubborn.
He already
but
reached for the chips.
Yeah,
Look at that.
he's
putting
deciding to be stubborn.
He's a very stubborn man.
Yeah. Yeah. It might be tough to be in a negotiation with that guy. Like, make contract negotiations might be tough.
He might own us in that.
Yeah. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Terminator. Oh, good flop for Wonka.
It's okay.
Holy
I don't mind
camoles.
it.
Nothing for Terminator, though, so unless he decides to make a play, which we have seen him do against Wonka in the past.
It's one of the better feelings, No Limit Hold'em, when you 3-bet a reasonable hand that is part of your 3-betting range, but you don't really want to get called, and then you get to flop like this.
Yeah, it's amazing. Wonka bets less than his 3-bet size.
Obviously, never folding to anything.
Of course. He's just trying to induce.
And I guess Terminator's fingers feel funny. He's shaking him around a little bit.
I think he was talking about how much he loves the piano.
Oh, okay.
Big piano guy.
You don't want to negotiate a piano sale with him, though. He will destroy you.
Yeah, you know, they call him Piano Man for several reasons. One of them is,
That's Billy Joel?
that's one of the reasons, yeah. The other reason is he loves playing piano. And the third reason is you don't want to get a negotiation with him over a piano. That's Piano Man. He knows everything about pianos, and he'll destroy you in that.
And he can even make up stuff about pianos. It's
Right,
like
you don't
Scrabble.
know.
It's like Scrabble. You know,
Right.
the Scrabble thing, you can only really
Challenge.
You can only really bluff if you know your opponent doesn't know all the words.
Right. Right. So
It's like that with pianos.
Marty's like, well, I don't know what these cards are, but I can call $10.
They're 10 and an eighth. And Terminator's got a nice hand here. I assume he'll bump it up. $50.
Seems reasonable. Wonka
Wonka.
with a very reasonable calling hand.
This is the type of thing he's been folding, though, in spots like this.
I think he just realizes Marty being in the pot makes things so much potentially more profitable.
Hank's going to call the 8-5 suited out of the small blind. Joseph folds the ace-jack off out of the big blind.
Wow.
That shows a different style than Hank.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I don't think Hank's ever folded ace-jack in his life.
I mean, probably there's been a time.
Right. Not to one bet, though, pre-flop.
If it was small.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. You know what? I think that's probably correct. Right?
Yep.
Probably shouldn't be folding to one bet most of the time.
Probably not.
Most of the time. Ace Jack would have been the best hand.
Tournament scenarios, you can find some spots. But anyway,
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Will Terminator continue? No, I guess not. And Wonka is sad. You did not flop as well as last time, Wonka.
Wonka wants to take a shot at it, but it's so hard four ways. He has no equity. Well, I guess he's got some backdoor equity in terms of a heart.
Somehow Terminator has the best hand here.
It doesn't. Well, actually, Hank suddenly picks
Hank
up the whole
improves
world.
massively. Straight flush draw.
It's definitely time to bet, Hank.
Tell
Everyone
me
just
more.
checked. Oh, and he checks. You could check raise, I guess, if someone wants to get a little nutso here.
And I think Wonka picked up a gut shot, but I don't know if that's enough to embolden him here.
Everyone checked twice, though. He doesn't have almost any equity, but he decides to check. Maybe he's just afraid he's.
He was playing his hand for value, and it didn't work out that way.
Yep. 4 on the river. Hank, you once again could bet. You have a 4 more than probably anybody else. So I guess Marty has a lot of 4s
Terminator
too.
is going to win with 9s unless anybody bets and he folds.
Hank never takes a shot.
And I guess Terminator's just going to win.
Yeah, no one even tries. Terminator's the only one with even a pair, and no one takes a shot at any point. Wow.
Well, Joseph would have won, but he wouldn't have won a lot.
No.
But, you know, $210. Not bad.
I mean, honestly, no. It would have been more because it would have checked through on the flop, and on the turn, Hank picks up everything.
Yeah, Hank would have called for sure.
For sure.
That's a good point.
So that's why you call with ace-jack
Thank you.
to one bet.
That's a free poker lesson.
Right there. Just giving it away. We do coaching, but that one's free.
Don't fold good hands. That is the lesson.
Especially when you're getting a price, and there's a lot of callers.
Getting a price, just neutral. It could
price.
be any amount. It's just a price.
Just make sure someone tells you how much it is.
Okay. You're
You're good.
You're getting 0.7 to 1 somehow.
It's impossible.
I know.
That's the thing.
That's why it would be an interdimensional price, bro.
Well, then you're getting a price, though, so I guess you have to call.
Okay.
W. Blake going to play a hand that Wonka would never be caught dead with.
Wonka would just fall asleep forever if he had to play Queen 10.
He's just like, I'm going to act like I'm a possum. Hope the thing leaves eventually. Hank with the ace-4 on the button. Joseph.
Calling the ace-9 suited. I guess the offsuit nature of the ace-jack is what led him to fold out of the big blind. I don't know.
Maybe also that CC would have won with the ace-jack. Changes it a little bit for him, too.
Perhaps. Maybe he's protecting his winnings a little bit. He did win that huge pot against Hank, and he just feels like he doesn't want to put himself in marginal spots. Meanwhile, nobody flops anything
Hank
except
flops a pair.
Hank flops bottom pair. Nobody flops
usually-
anything exciting, okay?
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
Joseph is going to lead at this pot. Wow.
That is kind of cool. He has, well, he's in the small blind. I don't know if he really has too many sixes in
Yeah.
his range. If he was in the big blind, he would.
Hank's like, well, I can't fold, Joseph. I have a pair. So this is going to be interesting to see if not scary cards come off if Joseph decides to keep firing. By the way, an ace is great for Joseph.
Yeah. It's a weird spot for Joseph because he might be ahead even though he was bluffing because Hank
Yeah.
calls with a lot of stuff. Hank could have king-queen here.
Well, just like Steve Harvey's great for family.
Joseph's thinking about it. He does
Check.
check. I'm assuming this is a give up.
Is Hank going to bet for protection or is he just going to see the river?
Looks like he's going to bet.
100 into 310. I wonder if that's transparent right there. The sizing indicative of a weak hand.
Weak or super strong.
Yeah.
Like full houses or very weak, right?
Yeah, Joseph gives up on the plan. He gets to win with the best hand.
Indeed, he does. Seems fair.
Yeah, I just wish the best hand always won. It's my favorite.
I thought last episode you said if you drag the pot, that was the best hand because it's the best hand standing. So by your logic, the best hand always wins.
Well, good.
So you're happy?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. As long as you're happy, then everyone's happy.
Really?
That's the new law.
Is this like the Truman Show type of thing? Am I a Truman?
Well, let me just say this. I'm not going to say it is or it isn't, but if you were, I wouldn't be allowed to say so.
Okay, okay.
That's all I can say about
I get it. I get it. Blake limping under the gun with an unknown hand here.
Terminator with something real.
Billy Joel has jacks.
The waitress is practicing politics.
Yeah. Microphone smells like beer.
Wonka with tens.
Yeah, this is going to get a little dirty.
All right, Wonka, 3-bet or call? 3-bet pretty reasonable. Wonka just always seems to know what to do in every spot correctly. Like, this is not a good time to 3-bet. Wonka does not 3-bet. Digital Dan,
He's a
feels
pro.
like a call to me.
Not for digital one.
Feels like a call to me.
El Digital is tired. He doesn't
6-5 of clubs.
He doesn't wish to play at this moment, Jonathan.
I mean,
please
I guess
respect his wishes.
Marty has 2 6s, so Dan would have really needed to flop pretty well.
Yep.
But 6-5 of clubs, pretty good hand.
It is a nice hand.
They are in early position.
Yeah, there's a lot of players behind.
That's a reason. And then there's a lot of squeezing in this game.
It's
You know what? It's probably a fine
it's
fold.
definitely
It's perfectly
fine
fine
to
fold.
fold.
Absolutely. Let's see what happens here.
Well, that is Wonka.
That would have been Digital Dan, too. 6-5 of clubs.
Wow, yeah, that could have gotten real bad.
They could have gotten it all in.
Terminator's going to lose a bit of money here.
Yeah, he's going to have to. Blake, though, has not acted yet.
I wonder if he has a flush draw or something.
I'm being told by the crew it's ace-10. There's your bet. Yeah, things that would make sense here could be 8-9, clubs.
6-8.
I guess he actually could have a 10 and be betting because he's afraid it would check through so often on.
It's hard for him to have a 10 when Wonka has 2 of them.
Oh, no, I agree. I agree.
And
There's a raise.
It's a raise from Terminator, and Wonka loves life so much right now. He just got raised,
With
and
the
he
nuts.
has the nuts.
Here's the only problem Wonka has. By the way, see that look around thing? That's the I have it look around for Wonka.
Yeah, if you ever play with him.
The only problem he has is his stack is such that any raise is basically an all-in. I mean, he could click it. I guess he could click it to like 700.
It's so crazy strong to raise here. I don't know what you're supposed to do.
But look at the board, and you got all these people in the hand. Are you really just going to call and let the draws in?
But are you ever supposed to get called by aces here if you raise?
I don't think so.
I don't
it's
think
so strong.
You can just hope somebody has an underset. That's like your big hope.
Yeah. I mean, Blake leading right there could absolutely have 7s or 5s.
Yes, he could.
And in fact, as we see, we don't know his cards, so that's good.
Blake could also easily have something like King, Queen of clubs that we would need to charge.
But we think if Wonka raises, Terminator's just going to throw his hand away, right?
I believe that would probably happen, yes.
I think so. Look at all these pocket pairs, by the way. 4 pocket pairs that we know of. So Wonka's, this is a really tough decision.
Bananas.
You could just call, but there are a lot of bad cards. A lot of bad cards.
I think I slightly prefer a raise because of that, and because we are so many ways.
Yep. We can also get called by big flush draws.
We have...
Like Terminator can have ace queen of clubs here,
He absolutely can.
and we're happy to get it in against ace queen of clubs.
We'd rather him have aces, but yeah.
Of course. But, it isn't like the overs count. We have most of the equity.
He's taking a long time before making his decision. I think he's just going to move all of the chips in, is what it looks like.
Yeah. That's understandable. If he had more chips, he could make a normal raise and Terminator would be in a different spot. But Blake and Terminator have got a lot more chips. Wonka just, with 2K in front of him, it's very reasonable just to move in.
I like the moving because it also looks like he might do that with a nut flush draw.
Exactly. Like if he's got the ace queen of clubs,
Moving in is a lot easier
is the
than
play.
any other. Yeah, you could fold if you really, really believe Terminator has a set for some reason.
I would
but-
never fold it.
Yeah, I know, neither would I. I said if you really believe
Yeah, yeah.
Terminator has a set.
No, I'm saying, yeah, I wouldn't believe that when he raises there. I'd put him on like kings and be like, cool, I'm getting a fine price. And maybe he'll fold sometimes.
Yeah.
Blake, by the way, has not thrown it away. You would think from Blake's point of view, should be a pretty easy decision either way. If you have a set, I assume you're going with it.
He must have a flush draw.
You could have a flush draw that is not like 2 overs in the flush draw because he limped, right? So he could have the ace X of clubs.
Yeah, maybe like the ace 4 of clubs.
Yeah, and so now, well, then he has to fold, right?
Doesn't want to. He obviously, I mean,
Could he have a bad combo draw? So he's like, oh, my clubs may not be good here.
like 3, 4 of clubs.
That would be one of them. He can't have the 6 of clubs in his hand, so we know that. Could it be like Jack 9 of clubs? Nope, Jack of clubs taken too.
Yep.
Not too many combo draws.
I
out
imagine
there.
if he had 8, 9 of clubs, he would have gotten it in by now. Like,
Yeah.
it's just probably.
Although it sort of sucks to have to call it off with 9 high with Terminator behind you.
I don't know if it's the right play, but
don't-
I'm pretty sure Blake would have gotten
Okay, that's
it
fair.
in with 8, 9 of clubs by
That's
now.
fair. I think you're supposed to. In fact, I would say you are supposed to fold 8, 9 of clubs and not call it off for
Right.
this much.
Although it sucks, obviously.
Blake's only put in a little bit.
And
too.
Terminator does quickly fold when
Yeah,
it gets back to
instant
him.
fold. I like that Terminator didn't do the whole thing of like, well, now that you folded, now what should I do? You
Right.
know? He already thought if Blake folds, I'm folding either way is what he decided. And he was right too.
He was. I mean, Wonka's range, like Terminator is lucky if he's against 2 overs and a flush draw or a combo draw, and he doesn't have incredible equity against those hands.
Yeah.
And it was early position raise and call, so it's usually 2 overs and a flush draw, which is worse for Terminator than a combo draw because the jacks with the jack of clubs blocks that a lot of the combo draws from coming in.
There's just so little that maybe Wonka can have 8, 9 of clubs himself there. and
Maybe.
move in. That's the dream spot. That's what
Right.
you're hoping for because you block the straight a little bit and you have the jack of clubs, but still
Usually,
not amazing.
It's like mostly a set, right?
I think it's a set a lot of the time, and when it isn't, it's ace queen of clubs.
Yeah, maybe ace king of clubs even.
Maybe. Anyway, Wonka, we're saying, he's really up to stack. Anyway, that was still a big pot to win.
Well, it helps when somebody makes it 400 on the flop over a lead and you have top
true.
set, which is the nuts.
$565 goes in before you put a
Yeah.
chip in the pot. That makes it easier on the flop.
Action Aaron gonna raise it up with a 10-6 suited.
Haven't seen too much of action, Aaron.
Marty found a hand he could fold. Well, Action Aaron has been a little bit handcuffed by Marty being on his left.
Can we get our producers to change the his name there to In Action Aaron?
Let me ask.
Can we do that?
Jennifer.
Is she there? I'm not sure.
No,
if
she's on her lunch break.
Oh.
Yeah, next time.
Okay. I don't really want to change the name. I was just wondering if it's possible.
Yeah, okay.
Like on the fly.
She's not supposed to be on break yet. We'll talk to her. All right, so
Just another person who's going to get fired.
we got check twice. I'm surprised Aaron hasn't taken a shot. Oh, not twice.
There you
He's
go.
betting the turn. Okay.
Checked it once, and now he's repping the ace. It's reasonable. It's a fairly range-neutral board, that Jack 8-3 rainbow.
Fancy words from Levy. Range neutral. What does that mean?
It means it's not really good for the raiser or for the caller. Not better for the raiser or for the caller, that particular flop board.
I see. Okay.
So that's a thing where you might decide to check that sometimes. You might also decide to bet it because you figure it's since no one has an advantage, the aggressive player is often going to win. But yeah, fancy language. That's me, buddy.
Yep.
I have other words too. Get ready for them.
Surreptitious. Do you ever use that one?
All the time.
It's a good one.
What I say is, what does surreptitious mean?
Just like to the cashier at the grocery store.
I talk to cashiers at grocery stores.
Yeah. There was at least one legendary story that
Will not be told.
the audience will never know.
Sorry, guys.
If
Will
you
not
see
be
us, if you
told.
see us at some
Yeah.
series, World Series of Poker or something like that, you can ask about it.
Ask about the Safeway. Yeah.
Yeah, the Safeway woman who was bagging the groceries that Jonathan talked to.
That's right. It's a good story. A lot of people think
Made a big faux pas.
A lot of people think that, not me.
It's like
So it's a good story.
16-1 or something of people that have been pulled.
I have some people who are on my side, but not a whole lot. Anyway, let's get to this hand.
Okay.
Joseph with the prettiest hand. I think there's an award for that.
Oh, cool.
And
Marty flops pretty well.
pretty good here. It's gonna check to.
By the way, Hank has
Joseph.
9-4 suited again.
Yeah, well, he's +2 this time.
Yeah.
Checks to Marty. Marty's gonna bet his trip kings. I don't see how this hand can continue, really, in any
Blake
way.
hasn't folded yet.
Blake's taking his time. He's got 2 people behind him.
He's reaching
What?
for chips.
Is he gonna?
Looks like a raise is coming.
Maybe he just thinks Marty's making a position bet here, and
I
he's
mean,
thinking,
it's
well, I'm just gonna take
That's
it
a
away.
completely reasonable thought.
Yeah, I agree. That's
Marty
fine.
has a lot of nothing here.
The problem is he's got 2 people behind him who could absolutely have a big hand. I guess
They already got that act, though, so
Yeah.
that removes some of the likelihood.
As Blake also, I guess you're just going to find out right now. He makes
raises
it 220.
small, once again giving him a good price to bluff. It's not exactly a bluff against Marty's bad hands. He's probably ahead of those hands, but he wanted to knock out the other players.
I mean, if it's this is either going to work or it isn't. If it doesn't, it's probably time to give up right away, right? A king 3 rainbow
It's
board.
possible that Marty could have a 3 and decide to call here. So
Yeah, that's true.
and like against a
That's
traditional
true.
player, they'll have more kings. But since there is 2 kings on the board, Marty might combinatorially have more 3s than kings.
Yeah, that's not crazy. 7 does not help anybody. Blake is not going to slow down.
No,
it
he
looks
is.
Like.
He already. Oh, he bet
No,
330.
he announced it. Is what it is. He announced it. And
330
look how
and
quickly Marty called.
Marty snapped. This is a horrible feeling. if you're Blake.
Marty is like, well, my kicker isn't very good, so I can't like lose my mind.
This
here.
is just an awful, horrible
Marty
feeling.
only has 500 back. There's 1.4K in the pot. Well, it's going to be easy though. Like, I mean, Marty has something. Blake does
Blake
check.
checks.
All right.
Third
so,
king comes. It makes it less likely that Marty has a king.
but more like, I mean, Marty has to have a full house, doesn't he? He called a
Yeah.
check raise and then he called a big bet on the turn.
Yeah, like 2 10s or 2 9s, something
Even
like
if it's a 3, he's got you beat either way. It doesn't matter. Marty's going to move in very reasonably here, of course. Blake has a pretty easy fold, I would say. I don't know. I don't
What
think
can he-
beat a
yeah,
si-
what can he
Not
beat?
a single thing can he beat, except Marty deciding to float twice
with like Queen Jack.
for no reason.
Yeah.
Now, we have seen Marty do some floating, but look how much of his stack this pot ate up.
Yeah,
to
Blake's
get to this point.
Blake's got to fold here. It's not like Marty went bet, bet, bet. It's Blake check raised, bet again, and Marty called both of those. It's very different than I could understand maybe sometimes heroing Marty with ace high all the way down, although I wouldn't recommend it. But at least sometimes against Marty. But this isn't a hero all the way down. This is we raised, we bet again.
Yeah,
then Marty moved in.
He decided to put chips into the pot as a call on the turn. It just seems so unlikely, and he put in a lot. He put in, like 40% of his remaining stack on the turn.
And Blake
Blake
calls.
calls!
He says call.
Wow. Blake put on his serious Superman cape for that one. Put on the boots, too.
I think the whole Marty vortex got
Yeah.
to Blake there.
That
Like,
you're sometimes going to make a bad decision because you confuse yourself with Marty, I think. I agree.
another victim of the Marty vortex.
Indeed.
That's a thing I'm going to start saying.
I like it.
Cool.
I like it a lot. Felt like a highlight hand to me. I don't know.
It felt a little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah. Marty suddenly gets the full double from ace high. If only he knew. Probably thinks Blake had, like, a set of 3s or something.
His reputation got him paid so hard there.
Yeah. That is one of the good things about playing this way is when you have it, people will not fold very often against you. Even when they don't have it. At all.
Blake must be smarting a little bit after that one.
Yeah, that's one of those two where you're like, oh, it looks kind of bad on the TV.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I give Blake credit for, clearly that does not factor into his thinking.
No.
That's good. Shouldn't. He's going to call.
Marty has king queen now.
Boy, I got to tell you, if I couldn't see the cards, it seems like every time Marty wins a hand, he immediately raises the next pot no matter what. But he's always had it.
He has. And
So,
Marty's not a typical player, that's for sure, but typically that means a strong hand when you're stacking chips and you raise.
Right. But for Marty, I wonder if he's just like, oh, I'm running good. That's
Yeah.
what I would have guessed, but that's not it. Joseph with 7s with the most equity in this pot, although we can't see Blake's cards.
Well, Marty's probably got the most equity
wow,
now.
back-to-back trips flop for Marty. Joseph very reasonably, I think Joseph probably should call one bet.
Yeah, Marty's the initial raiser, so he's going to be betting. Ooh, he checks it.
Oh, BMW Blake, look at that. He called with king 8 off.
Yeah, he's tilting.
Yeah. He is definitely tilting.
Marty didn't want to see that card.
Hey, there's 3 spades on the board, and there's the ace of spades and the king of spades out there. Marty's going to start betting now. Maybe, well, he's not really giving anyone enough of a price, but Blake has no interest in folding after that last pot. No interest.
This is going to be the last hand of this episode, by the way. Check back next week for another episode of this session, and look at this. Hank's going to get in there, too, with
Sure. He's
the
got the
nut flush draw.
draw. Hank is getting a little bit better of a price than
Yep.
Blake was getting. The board is paired.
Blake has 0% equity.
How about that?
And there it is.
Comes in. And
Hank checks.
Wow. I don't see how he's not going to get paid here. Blake's going to have to put in a bet if Marty doesn't.
Marty has to check, obviously.
Yeah. Blake. I think Blake's right to bet.
Yep. Big bet.
How much was that?
Wait, it's not that big.
Okay.
I was wrong. I thought it was more black chips.
375, more than half the pot, but you're right. It's a more normal size bet.
So-
Hank has how much? 1.4K.
As Hank, do you raise or call? Because the board is paired, but Blake never took an aggressive action until now.
How is Blake supposed to have it?
I think we can raise.
Blake could, I guess, have pocket 5s or pocket 10s. It's very pocket 5s, I guess, is the only thing I'd be afraid of.
I think we can raise, but I also don't think we should get paid if we raise by anything.
I don't know
that's
how we're
worse than
supposed to
our
get
hand.
paid. That'd be the one reason not
It looks
to
like
raise.
that was a raise from Hank.
It's so strong to play it like this. He just check raised the river when the 4th spade came in. What in the world does he have? He's got full houses. And he's got.
He's made it 500 more.
I mean, Hank can, by the way, have queen deuce.
Is Blake should be folding here, right?
Blake calls.
Oh, he calls.
I think he's tilting from the last hand.
Blake is definitely tilting, and it cost him that time.
Yeah. Blake just lost a lot of money in these last 2 hands. Those are 2 big pots.
That's a brutal way for Blake to end this episode.
Yeah. Fun episode, though.